This is the Spartan Body and Mind Podcast. I'm your host, Seth Winterhalter. Today on the Spartan Body and Mind Podcast, we're talking about the cheat meal, the epic cheat meal. What is a cheat meal and why should we stop talking about cheat meals? That and more on today's episode. I want to remind you, Spartan Body and Mind, we are here to help men reclaim manhood. What do we mean by that? It means that first, we need you to dial in your health, your physical health, your emotional health, your mental health, for you to thrive and to be in thriving relationships, to be a thriving person who lives a meaningful, personal, intentional life. You need to be personally healthy. Then you're able to pour out into things like a marriage, things like relationships, friendships, things like your vocation, things like your avocation, your neighborhood, your neighbors, just all the things in life that make life worth living. But to do that means you have to be healthy first. And so we offer the Spartan program. It's a 90-day program to help you reset yourself personally so that you can be a better man in your relationships and in your purpose. If that sounds of interest to you, go to thespartanprogram.com and apply to be one of the 5 men we invite into the program every month. Okay, let's get into it. What is a cheat meal? Why do we need to get rid of this idea of the cheat meal? Cheat meals are when, right, you're on a diet, you have a plan for your nutrition, and you say, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to eat a pizza. I want to eat a burger. I want to go eat sushi. Can I have a cheat meal? Right? You often get this with, coaches, or you often hear maybe even bodybuilders saying, oh, I finally get a cheat meal. Here's the issue with just this verbiage, the word cheat. Cheat has a massive negative connotation to it, right? It's not slightly negative. You cheat on a test. And if you get caught cheating on a test, there are severe consequences. It's not mild, right? You cheat on a spouse. That's a significant thing. That is devastating to a relationship. And so then when we say a cheat meal, guess what? It's hyper negative. It's shameful. It's like guilt-ridden, and it's something like we need to hide it. We need to make an excuse for it. We need to justify it. So you having a hamburger is not a cheat. It is not that level of negativity. There should be no shame in you wanting to enjoy a hamburger. You wanting to go out with friends and have some pizza and beer. So let's stop with this wording, with this verbiage of, can I have a cheat meal? And let's instead say, I want to make intentional choices. I want my nutrition. I want my diet, which is just simply, diet doesn't mean we're losing weight. Diet is simply the food that we're putting into our body to fuel us. So I want my diet, I want my nutrition to be an intentional choice. So either I'm going to choose to eat really clean, meaning, right, really clean carbs that are going to fuel my body. I'm going to eat clean proteins that don't have excess crazy fat or sodium in them, that are going to digest well and provide the macronutrients to be able to build and sustain my muscle. I'm going to eat healthy fats that are going to get my brain the energy and the nutrients it needs to function at full peak capacity, right? That's me thinking I'm going to be intentionally to eat what I call clean. Even that nomenclature, clean, like there's something special. I would just say this instead of clean, say I want to eat foods that are the best they're the easiest to digest, and they provide the best nutrients to make my body operate at peak condition, right? So they're not clean, like they wash them up. It's that they're doing what I need for my brain, for my muscles, for my body to do what it needs to do at peak performance. That I'm going to intentionally choose to eat more of those foods and less of the foods that are A, hard to digest, B, that provide very little healthy nutrients, that actually provide things that are actually probably doing more damage or harder to digest. They're just not producing anything of real health for me. I want to put less of that in me and more of the good stuff. Because remember, kale's a clean food. Kale is a weed. It's a bloody weed. Like, it produces nothing in you. Maybe some fiber. Do you know how much food? You can go to 10,000 other sources for fiber. This idea of fiber. I got to have fiber. Stop it. Stop. You're not a rabbit. Stop pursuing all these dumb vegetables for fiber. There's fiber in blueberries. Go eat blueberries. There's plenty of fiber in blueberries, and they're 10 times better than kale. Ridiculous. So again, I'm intentionally choosing what to put in my body. And so if I want to put a hamburger in there, I want to choose that with intentionality. So that's what I want to think about. I want you to think about life. And I want you to think about, hey, I'm going to go hang out with friends. And so tonight I'm going to intentionally choose to just eat wherever we're going to go. And maybe you go to a place where you can choose a steak and you can choose, some potatoes or some rice or some things that they're still men, really healthy for peak performance. But you know what? Maybe we're going to go to the bowling alley and kick back and I'm going to eat some nachos. Hey, that's a good choice too, because you're choosing a relationship and you're choosing not to be the dude who's got to bring his chicken and rice and see if they have a microwave. Now you can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I was in a conversation the other day with some clients and we were talking about, what was it? One of them, they were at a work kind of a conference thing. And they said they kind of felt embarrassed about being the guy who they all went out to eat at Mexican. And he goes, I kind of feel embarrassed because I'm trying to look for something healthy on the menu. And it's like, oh, are you trying to be the difficult guy? And it's like, and I had to ask, I'm like, are you assuming that or did people actually say it? Because I think it can get in our heads that we're assuming that people look at us like we're weird because we're not eating 2 chimichangas. Especially if you're a really big person, you're really overweight, you can kind of have this just assumption that everyone thinks you eat like a fat cow. And the truth is, you probably did to get that big. But you should feel good about taking control of your life and of eating in wiser choices. Don't feel like you've got to eat poorly because somebody thinks that you're overweight and you probably do. That's weird, right? So this is a lot of head games. A lot of what we're doing is just weird things going on between our heads. And the first thing is you got to be intentional about your life. Be intentional about your life. And so sometimes you're going to go out and you're just not going to care. You're just going to enjoy the moment. And sometimes you're going to go out and it depends on how social you are. If you're real social, you're going to have to be more intentional when you go out. Because if you just go kite to the wind every time you go out and you go out 3-4 times a week, you can be in some pretty bad shape health-wise because you're eating really poorly. So be in control, be intentional, right? So here's the practicality things that I want you to think about when you're going to make an intentional choice to eat what I call a little sloppy, right? You're going to eat a little sloppy. You're going to have some nachos. You're going to go right, have a chimichanga. You're going to do whatever when you don't want to kind of think about it. It's just math. Fit it into your macros. You can get on your phone and go, hey, we're going to go and I'm going to have some nachos. Great. Just put in nachos and it gives you, it might not be exact, but it gives you an idea. Hey, I'm looking at, there's 5 things of nachos. I'm not going to choose the lowest one. There's, one's here 1,000 calories, one here's 12. Okay, let's go 12. Let me just assume that it's 12,000 calories. Wow, it's a lot of fat, a lot of carbs, very little protein. Great. Let me throw that in and let me adjust around it. And I might need to adjust even the day before and the day after because it might be such a swing. And that just means, man, I'm just going to cut a little bit of carbs here. I'm going to be mindful of my day because I'm going to go to the bowling alley at night. So guess what? I'm going to eat a lot of protein and really minimal fats with just a little carbs in my other meals so that I still have my protein in. And that might help you so that you don't eat the entire plate of nachos. You just eat, a quarter of it, half of it. There are ways to be disciplined. But again, it comes back to math. Like this is where a lot of people be like, oh, I eat really sloppy, but I don't gain weight. It's just math. It's because I know someone who eats, I would say pretty sloppy. They eat out a lot, but they don't gain a ton of weight. And it's because they also know when they're full. So they don't overeat. Most of us don't shut off. We overeat a lot, and that's the big issue. So if you don't have the sensor, in your head to go, man, I need to shut it off, then you have to be more careful about what you intentionally put in your body. So A, you can just fit it in your macros. B, just don't care. You're going to have times in your life when it's just like, I'm just going to eat this and I don't need to worry about it. I don't need stress. I'm just going to enjoy the moment with my friends. Great. Do that. A few things to be aware of, just frequency. Just be careful you're not making these intentional choices to eat sloppy all the time. That's like, especially if you want to lose weight. I've got clients, all my clients right now are trying to lose weight. So they're not going to have they're not going to eat off plan because we have goals to hit, right? Now they may go, man, I got this date night coming up. Great. Where are you going to go? What are you going to eat? Let's plan it out so you have an idea. And that doesn't mean if they say, hey, I'm going to go out with date night. Oh, I can just have chicken. No. Well, what do you want to eat? Oh, can I have a dessert? Yes, you can. Let's figure it out. Let's put it in the plan. There are ways. All it needs is some planning. This is why it's good to have a coach, because you can be like, hey, coach, like, this is what I want to do. Help me. Great. Let's figure it out. Let me do some math on it. And I just do all the work for you so you get to enjoy life. So number one reason for a coach, let them do some work. So the frequency, I want to be mindful of the frequency. And I also want to be mindful. Most people, when they do this whole cheat meal thing, you're really emotional eating, right? You're eating because of stress. You're eating because something happened and you feel bad or you feel depressed. So be careful. Most emotional eating is either we overeat to kind of numb some pain, or we drastically undereat to numb pain. So be careful of where you're at emotionally. There are only real two reasons we do cheat meals. A, we have something emotional going on, right? Even boredom isn't emotional. We're trying to fill our life. We're bored. So I'm going to graze on this bag of chips, give myself something to crunch on. That's emotional eating. You're emotional or you are relational, right? I want to go out with my friends and hang out. Great, do it. Let's just decide. Are we going to be controlled in our chaos? Are we going to be uncontrolled? Both can be fine. It just depends what's going on. It depends on, you still want to be mindful. You want to be intentional. Be intentional with your life. So that's what I have for you. Let's get rid of the word cheat meal and just say it's a choice meal. I'm going to be intentional with the choices I make and make sure that I am being mindful of what I'm doing with the things going into my body. There it is. Stop eating kale. Okay. If we can help, check us out. Go to thespartanprogram.com, set up a time to call, and let's chat on how we can help you become the man you were meant to be. Until next time.